Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns, and welcome to 333 Magic 9, your astrology channel. The purpose of this video is a little different than my normal videos. This is to demonstrate the effectiveness of transiting astrology. And a transit is when one planet in the heavens moves over a planet in a birth chart that is stationary, because that's based on the time and date and place of birth. So the transits are always happening. So what is happening this year in relationship to an earlier year at birth? So that brings some information about the energy that is happening. So transits are a very interesting tool that can tell us why current events is happening or are happening, and what might be coming in the future. And that can be very helpful for predictions. So one of the things that we're going to use in this video is something called keywords. Now, keywords in astrology far predate any Google search terms. That's just a keyword is just a word that means something. So in astrology, keywords are very important because they can describe the energy and nature and characteristics of a sign, of a planet, of a house in the birth chart, or the aspects that happen between planets, either in a birth chart or in a transit chart that would be affecting a birth chart. Now, basically, a birth chart, really defines the energy and the personality of a person, or in this case, we'll be talking about a country. So I'm going to show you an example of how a birth chart works, just to describe one of the characteristics of a country. And for the example, I will use the birth chart of the United States of America. We were born on July 4th, and so that makes us a Cancer country. And some of the key words that are associated with the sign of Cancer are home, family, and patriotism. And Cancer is also very protective, and it also wants to hold on to everything it has. So that's part of the protectiveness or the protective nature. And you can see that in the chart because the United States has a number of placements in the sign of Cancer. So that is an example of how the language of astrology works. Now let us look at some of the astrology charts that are associated with the war in Israel. Israel was born on May 14th, 1948. As a Taurus country, it strives for security, peace, and prosperity. Its character is determined and resilient. However, like any bull, the astrological symbol of the sign of Taurus, if you wave a red flag, you will get a powerful reaction. Now, Israel's sun, or identity, is located near the cusp of the 7th and 8th houses. The 7th house represents partners, but also open enemies. The 8th house represents death, resurrection, and the type of energy shared with partners. The aspects are the energy that is based in the birth chart. Israel has the sun squared to Mars, the god of war. A square is a challenging energy. Also, the sun is trine to Jupiter. Jupiter is Zeus, the Greek god that has the lightning bolts. So when Israel goes to war, it does it well and it does it quickly. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and that is the sign that rules religion. So religion will always be an important factor for Israel. Hamas also has placements in Sagittarius. One of the negative keywords for the sign of Sagittarius is fanatic. I should also mention that the planet Uranus, the planet of sudden and unexpected events, was transiting over the sun of Israel. And more about that in a minute. This is the birth chart of Hamas. As an organization, Hamas started on December 10th, 1987 in Gaza. So Hamas is born under the sign of Sagittarius. Again, the sign that rules religion. And the sun was also in the seventh house, like Israel's sun, and this is the house of partners and also open enemies. Most interesting is that the sun is conjunct or in the same place as Saturn, and also Saturn is conjunct Uranus. So there are actually two very powerful conjunctions right in the seventh house. So when the sun is conjunct Saturn, Saturn rules karma and fear. And Saturn also conjunct with Uranus. Uranus rules willfulness and the unexpected. In a chart, this speaks to a conflict within the nature of the organization. Part wanting to move to the future and part being stuck in the past. The other very important conjunction in the chart of Hamas is a conjunction of Mars, the god of war, in the same place with Pluto, that is Hades in Greek mythology, the god of the underworld. Taken together, some of the key words are aggressiveness, warlike, premeditated, destructive, and vindictive. Now let us look at the event chart that marked the beginning of the war, or where the planets were transiting on October 7th. Before doing that, I would like to say that war never is productive for anyone. It is always hell, and everybody pays a dear price with treasure. So as we look to the event chart, the event started on October 7th, 2023 at 6:35 a.m. in Israel. And on that day and at that time, Uranus was transiting at 22 degrees 28 minutes Taurus. That would be a 1 degree conjunction with the sun of Israel's chart. Some of the key words associated with that type of a conjunction are sudden and unexpected events. At the same time, Neptune was very busy, let's say, squaring the Saturn and Uranus positions in the chart of Hamas. The other very important aspect, and this is very much associated with the chart of Hamas, was a transiting square of Mars at 27 degrees Libra, and that was exactly squared to Pluto. Now, Mars is the god of the war, and Pluto is the god of the underworld. And so they were exactly squared, which is a challenging aspect. And Pluto was at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Now, this is associated with Hamas because Hamas has Mars and Pluto conjunct in its chart. So it's also very interesting that Pluto, as the god of the underworld, suggests that a lot of the war will be fought underground. And isn't that the truth? Before looking into the future, it's important to note that there were 7 planets retrograde during 2023. And that's a very unusual occurrence. Here are the dates. A retrograde is not an actual motion, but it is a relative motion because the planets move at different speeds around the ecliptic. So what this means in interpretation in astrology is that there are some difficulties that need to be dealt with, and they usually will deal with the past. And obviously the war between Israel and Hamas is dealing with the past. As we look ahead into February, and this is February 14th, we see that Venus will be at the degree where Pluto was at the beginning of the war, and Mars will be conjunct Pluto in Scorpio. Now, the conjunction of Mars and Pluto may be very important because this reflects that conjunction that is in the birth chart of Hamas. And perhaps this will bring an ending to the violence and stop the cycle that began when Mars and Pluto were squared at the beginning of the war. The only problem with Mars and Pluto is it can also intensify things as well. Finally, as we look into the midpoint of April, we will see that both Uranus and Jupiter are transiting very close to the position of the birth sun of the country of Israel. Now, they make a conjunction of 2 degrees, so that's pretty intense and pretty good. Hopefully, this will bring some good news and a lasting peace. Jupiter would enjoy the peace. However, Uranus, you can never tell, because Uranus is a little willful and it can go either way. So let us all join together in praying that there can be a lasting peace in the Middle East, and that no more harm will come to any people. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns, and this is my story. If you are a spiritual seeker, it may help you on your journey. I believe your spiritual development is as important as your religion. If you look at Christianity, it focuses on the life of Jesus. But Jesus was never a Christian. He was Jewish. If this thought intrigues you, you'll enjoy my new book, Light from Water, Freeing Jesus. It's available on Amazon.com and through fine bookstores. And it may help you on your spiritual journey. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd like to thank you for listening. Please like my videos and share them with your friends. And if you'd like to know more information and how to get help personally, get a private psychic and spiritual reading or a natal transit astrology chart, go to my website, professorastrology.com, and go to the private services page. And that's where you'll get the information. It's professorastrology.com. And I hope you have a great month.